Profit is not cash. Let's have a few of these points just so that we see what we're talking about. So the timing of when the money enters your account is critical. And many businesses struggle, and the frustration of entrepreneurs, I don't know how many of you in this room are always frustrated because it feels like we are making money. I'm trying to describe how entrepreneurs speak to us when they come into our classes at St. Autonomy. I'm making money, but I feel like I'm always putting money back into the business. Yes, because the timing of the cash flow into the business is what you need to pay attention to. And as an entrepreneur, you're not just going to be looking, please, ladies and gentlemen, you're not just going to be looking at your profit and loss. You need to have your eye on the cash. Listen to the word cash flows within that business on a daily, in fact, if you can't even hourly. This is the most critical part. This is the reason when you see successful businesses, they do daily reconciliations. Daily. Where is the daily cash flow report? And if you can't at that point, at minimum, weekly reports. I want, as a principle in business, listen to me. It is worth your time and your money to engage professionals to guide your decision. You will not become an accountant just because you attended these sessions. That's not the aim of what we're doing. But we need to understand the principles so that you're able to engage now, for instance, with your accountant with knowledge. So you're not sitting across from them and they're just simply telling you everything. So we can use capital to bridge the gap. Here's the thing. We need to raise sufficient capital, especially I'm talking now to those who are in the early stage of the business. Raise sufficient capital to cover costs until cash is credited. And this is, I don't want you to be comfortable just simply because you have seen profit month to month. I also want you to be setting clear targets for your business so that the targets are the ones that are driving the business, not simply the profit that you're seeing in that month. Because the targets will give you the push, the drive to understand that, guess what? Month to month are not going to be the same. There's no business that I've seen that it is exactly the same month to month. There are cycles of growth that are going to go through. So when you are in the early stage and you're opening, and I can tell there are people at that stage right now who are here. Entrepreneurs often underestimate the initial capital required to start a business because of the cash flow. The risk of overstretching your business. Only borrow when there is a promised payment which you have invoiced. When you have invoiced the work, that should be a good indicator that the money will eventually come. Do you see that how you use the tools? Because if you get into an overdraft and you have not invoiced and you don't know, then you're just in a debt cycle that is unsustainable. But when you're in a sustainable debt cycle, then you're in a good relationship, and often this can allow you to begin to grow. Nyambura and the team will talk to you about other products that KCB may have and other ways in which you're going to interact. But always, anytime you're considering borrowing, let it be against items that can show repayment. Here's the next piece of advice. Hey, the time is flying. But I'm enjoying this. I hope you're learning. I hope you're getting there. I'm seeing a few comments in that chat box that are helping. Thank you so much along the way. Negotiate, negotiate, negotiate. Write that 3 times on your piece of paper, because this is something that cannot, let me tell you as an entrepreneur, no, let me take those words back. As a Kenyan or African entrepreneur, when you go to the market and you hear that this item is being sold at 20 shillings, even if it has been sold at 20 shillings all your life, you African, aren't you the one who says, hey, 20 bob, 20,000. 20,000. I mean 20 shillings. Nipatia na 15. Isn't that you? I I don't understand, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe one of you can put up your hand and answer this question to me, or maybe type in the chat box. Why is it when we go into these fancy offices, when we're dealing in places that are in town, and we walk into that office, we think we cannot negotiate? Why do you think that, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you, Rogers. We negotiate. So, please sit down with these three characters and any other characters that you have within your business space and negotiate. Write this down. If it is suppliers, look, with every person or every stakeholder within your business network, negotiate. And your attitude of negotiation is different depending on where they fall. So suppliers, let's deal with suppliers number one. Make sure they give you as much time as possible to repay them. So for them, you are negotiating to see, okay, give me the goods now, and the time that we're going to respond, I'll pay you in as many days as possible. Push that timeline. When you close that door and you move to the next room and you see clients, now you change your attitude. With clients, make sure they pay you in the shortest time possible. Because these cash flow issues that we're going to get are the problems. So watch this. Write this down so that you don't forget. A powerful tool to match this cash flow issue. Because remember, we're saying cash is king. Ask for a down payment. Look, opposite you. This is not our policy. We do not. Remember, they're also in business. So you are now a supplier, isn't it? You have changed positions in that negotiation. So they want to reduce the amount of time, to increase the amount of time. You want to reduce it. Or we don't have a policy for this. We don't be able to negotiate. None of these things I've learned are set in stone. I could not believe it. I used to do forex, because some of the work that we were doing, we were being paid in foreign currency, so like US dollars. And I used to go to the bank and just simply take whatever the bank rate is that time. I did. Shock on me when a friend of mine just came and said, "Did you ask them for a different rate?" And I said, "What do you mean ask them? See, the rate is written there on the board. Have you ever walked into the bank? You see the rate that is put there." They said, "Yeah, but listen, they have the ability within this, because you're transacting at certain levels. If it's over a certain amount, they have the ability to negotiate a better rate, exchange rate for you." It's like, anyway. Point one, I get excited by this. With clients, ask for a down payment. So cash comes in advance and helps you with this cash flow issue that we're having here. Another way is have installment plans. So maybe the project that you're running is going to take over a period of time, maybe a couple of months, rather than waiting for the end of that entire project to be able to be paid. And negotiate so that you have payments within a certain period of time. And then just simply negotiate to reduce the credit periods. Just sit down and talk. They say, "Oh, us here, it's 90 days. Policy is 90 days, 90 days. We say, "Okay, listen, in our place, our policy is 30. No, don't go to the closest one. Say 30 and see what happens." Some clients you will not be able to move. But what my experience has been is that you're often able to actually move. The last one there that you're seeing there, I've already mentioned it, but I'll just mention it again. Even with your bank and other credit facilities and other financial institutions, negotiate. Ask. Hey. The Bible says you have not because you do what? You ask not. Everything can be negotiated. Just ask. Sit down and ask. The same way you do when you're in the market, ask when you're in these different spaces. I offered the service to you and I drove to your place and a liter of fuel was 100. Say, oh my goodness, what is it even now? 120 something going to 150. If I offered you the service when the fuel price was at 150 bob or 120, 3 months later, I find that the price of fuel is 150, I've lost value. So if I do not consider that element within my pricing structure, maybe I'll make the sale right now. And earlier on, remember we talked about in strategy as far as businesses are concerned. Earlier on in business, you're talking about the sales strategy, no problem. But at some point, you have to understand that time is a cost. Because with inflation, I am losing value. I want you to fully understand. Listen to me, ladies and gentlemen. The cost of stress, because it takes away from your innovation, it takes away from your business development, it takes away from your ability to be creative when you're stressed. So if you price at a certain level that does not make sense, ladies and gentlemen, are we ever going to be able to achieve the things that we're talking about here? So please, when you're pricing, don't just... We are not running side hustles in this room. Haven't we agreed on that? As we go through this process through this year, and you're going to hear from the other expert trainers that are coming along the way. I was just setting the foundation. We've got a great group of trainers who are going to take you through next. But I want you to understand, if you get this point throughout this year and you follow along the way, we will be building businesses, not side hustles. This is where the difference is found. Because in business, you're building sustainability. In a side hustle, you're focused on daily cash. And the problem with many businesses, when you hear there are 14 million entrepreneurs in Kenya or small business SMEs in business, why is it then we're not seeing the economic growth that we're looking for? It's because out of those 14 million, probably less than 10,000 of those businesses are actually functioning like a business with profitability. You as a business need to have savings and investments outside of your business. Remember, we've said this how many times? Don't put all your eggs in one basket, including your basket called the business. So as the business makes money, take cash out, put it in a savings account, put it in a fixed deposit, put it into unit trust.